10 minutes. Minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. minus 7 minutes. T minus 6 minutes. T minus 5 minutes. T minus for minutes. T minus 3 minutes. minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Hey-yo. It's a hump day edition of the RP Show. Going to get right to it. Kevin Karius joining us in hour 2 from Sports 1440 Edmonton. It's your favorite daytime sports talk show coming your way on the Game Plus television network, primarily in various other platforms. We got some NFL, CFL, NHL, Blue Jays to get to today. It's your boy RP here, and pleased to be kicking off the program with our good and longtime friend Mitchell Scruffy Blair. We don't need to get into any pleasantries or that sort of thing. I feel like we can jump right into it. Scruffy, please hold your applause, because I know with the big story, as we get right down to it here, with the big story and the quick 6 show topics, Mitch will have some thoughts on this, okay, as we jump right into it. It was more big news yesterday, but I still see it some news today, and it's right down your alley. Pete Goelli, the Buffalo Bills chief operating officer, was in town, Toronto, Tuesday, as Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment and the Bills unveiled a partnership aimed at helping grow football in Canada. The partnership is the Bills' latest attempt to grow its market in Southern Ontario. The Bills played 5 regular season and 2 preseason games at Toronto's Rogers Centre from 2008 to 2013. I want to jump right into this, Mitch, and say, is this a good thing or a bad thing for the Toronto Argonauts? I'll say good, but what do you think?
On the surface, I don't like it, and I need to dig more into it. They want to get young people playing the game. I understand that. I think that's great. But why do we need the Buffalo Bills to get young people playing football in Ontario? Is that not the job of the Toronto Argonauts, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the Canadian Football League? Roddy, you know, being from Saskatchewan, being from Regina, that perhaps the best youth flag football league in Canada happens in Regina. And you have thousands of kids wearing NFL jerseys. Those kids then want to watch the Baltimore Ravens, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Seattle Seahawks. So it's great, but at what cost is this coming? Because I don't know on the surface how this is going to benefit the Toronto Argonauts and the Canadian Football League. And I think this is just another attempt by MLSE, who doesn't give a rat's ass about the CFL, to drive another stake into its coffin.
This is how professional of a broadcaster Scruffy is. I didn't even tell him. Not one topic did I tell Scruffy what we were going to talk about. And you come in guns a-blazing. Clearly you had
Pre-show
some
meeting.
thoughts on this. Yeah, the pre-show meeting. Never had. Why start now, Mitch? But anyway, I'm seeing the fighting back and forth. And Luke Wilson, of course, from the CFL on TSN saying the Numpties won. I feel like they did the right thing. Doug Flutie played for both the Argos and the Bills, and I see he was on board, is purporting this, and I don't mind. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take in Toronto. I've never spent 2 minutes living there, nor have you. You know, we're Western Canadian guys. I live in Florida now. I don't know what it's going to take in Toronto. And is that what they're trying to do, sell Bills tickets? The thing here and Keith Pelley at the news conference yesterday, the president of MLSC, he's a good one. And to be honest, if he signs off on this, I'm good. What I would say is this. You kind of answered your own question about the thousands of kids playing NFL flag football across Canada. That's who the kids are following, is the NFL. So
Right.
This is a good start. What I would say is, how could it hurt? How could this in any way be a bad thing? I think anybody who tries to fight with the NFL or its teams, you're never going to win. Whether that's the CFL or the Argos, you're not going to win. So I'm the king of let's work together. It's been the hallmark of my career. So how would this hurt?
I just think it's going to take more eyes off the CFL in the Toronto market. Now, again, I haven't dug into this completely, but how is this going to benefit the Argos? How is this going to benefit the CFL? Like the Toronto Argonauts are saying, oh, we're going to have a Buffalo Bills theme at one of our games. Really? You need that? Like, can you imagine, Rod, what would happen here in Saskatchewan if the Riders put out a press release today saying it's going to be Denver Broncos theme night in Saskatchewan? The fan base here would lose their ever-flippin' mind. Like, I just, as I said, I've got to dig into this a little bit more. I don't like it right now, though, on the surface for the Argos and the CFL. And I just wonder what the agenda is here for MLSC. And like as I said, if it's kids playing football, I agree with that. But why can't the Argos do that? Why can't the CFL do that? Is it such a problem that the Buffalo Bills have to do it for them?
Clearly it is. They've tried.
And that might be the biggest problem of all of it.
Yeah, then it hasn't worked. So anyways, here's the beautiful thing about the program. We're already up against it for the end of segment one. This is the big story that, I know it's very hard to believe, but Navy Don writes in and says, from Ottawa, he says, MLSC doesn't give two craps about the Argos. He goes on to say Luke Wilson is being a real jerk towards CFL fans. Unfortunately, that's not particularly new out of Luke. Wayne in BC says, why did MLSC buy the Argos in the first place if they aren't going to promote or back them? Scott in Vancouver says, we used to go out and play sports for fun, but kids don't play sports outside anymore unless it's organized. They are inside playing video games or on an electronic device. I think more than anything, it's most important for the Argos to sell tickets. I'll say this again. I don't know what's going to hurt. Here in South Florida, you know what they're trying to do? Get kids playing hockey. All genders, all races. It's the same idea of what they're doing here in Toronto.
You know what you need to do, Rod Pedersen?
What?
You know what you need to do? You need to get kids in Florida playing street hockey.
Oh, I know. Oh, trust me.
Like, when's the last time you saw someone playing street hockey?
Here? Never. But they do have a brand new outdoor rink that they built. It's a longer story than we have time for. But I kind of like where we're going here. You know that we're going to Vegas Television on September 29th in hour 2 only. So I'm kind of liking this. Canadian sports in hour 1, U.S. sports in hour 2. It should serve both parties and everybody will be happy. So hour 1, Canadian sports. And the main thing here is that Game Plus TV is our daddy, always will be. And we love them, and everything is going great with all our broadcast platforms. So we're just getting going. Bills and MLSE is the big story, and I didn't think I missed on that one. We got CFL Week 15, NFL Week 2. Sidney Crosby's talking about trade rumors involving him. And to be honest, I've got some strong thoughts on that, and Mitchell always does. So we'll take a brief pause and be right back here on Game Plus TV right after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Nazareth's Canadian Farewell Tour is coming to Moose Jaw. Live at Temple Garden Center, October 17th. With special guest, Lee Aaron. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or sasktix.ca.
It's the RP Show. Be part of the team. Grab your RP Show merch now at rodpedersen.com. Click on RP Store. Mitchell Scruffy Blair's with me as usual. The comments from the viewers are far better than those from the hosts. If I can just dump into the Western Dodge text line for a sec. Mark in Burlington, Ontario writes in. He says, this new relationship is great for the Argos. How can you be a naysayer about something new and fresh? Right? That's what I'm saying. And Rob in Las Vegas writes in. He says, I coached my kids for many years in flag football when they were growing up in Winnipeg. I could never understand why the team league uniforms were always NFL teams. Ridiculous. Because it was pitched to the CFL by yours and my great friend Mike Thomas. Scruffy, you know the story. And Mark Cohan said, will pass. And it's like the only thing that Mark Cohan did wrong in his reign as the commissioner of the Canadian Football League. Now, I'm ready to move on. I still don't know how these guys on PTI get through 18 topics in 30 minutes. We get hung up on one. in 2 hours. But week 15 in the Canadian Football League is
Can you
almost
imagine
ahead.
you and I doing a PTI show?
I would love to. I have imagined it many times, and we're both covered in ice cream.
It would be fun.
Point 2 of the Quick Six Show topics. Week 15, Canada's Game of the Week. That's the poll question. What is it for EMJ Marketing? We get a Friday doubleheader. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a rematch of the 2019 Grey Cup. And then the late game Friday night, Ottawa at BC. Saturday, this is my vote for Game of the Week. Mine, Cody. And the Edmonton Elkamos at Toronto in a rematch of the 1996 Grey Cup. And then Montreal at Sask in the late game. My vote's Elks, Argos. How about you?
Yeah, I probably got to go with that too. Where would Edmonton be this year if they had started Cody Fajardo in week 1? I think that was a huge mistake by the Edmonton football team. I understand the rationale to get Trey Ford in there because he's Canadian, but the Edmonton Elks are a much better football team with Cody Fajardo under center. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs through the West, but if they do, I'd be a little wary of them if I were Dave Dickinson or Corey Mace.
Well, where are the BC Lions fans at right now? And maybe you know, Mitch, BC and Edmonton are tied for 4th with 5 wins each, and the crossover's in play. I don't know who has the season series there between Edmonton and BC, but that would be something if Edmonton is rallied and brought back from the dead by Cody Fajardo. But I'll be honest with you, because I got a hockey point coming up, and I always go back and forth between hockey and football because they are my 2 main sports. But you can love Mark Killam, love Ed Hervey. I really do. But you got to sit there and wonder about their football acumen that they would, because Trey Ford wasn't their guy. I'm not questioning their acumen. I'm just saying, how did you not know? You were there in training camp, guys, watching every rep in the preseason. So you're saying, how did you not start Cody in week 1? Ask them. What are they saying about that? Why would they do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough question. But that's the thing with football people, whom I love. But it's like, you don't know anything. I've been sitting here pumping Cody Fajardo's tires since 2019. I get these calls. You don't know anything. I know that. But what I see him being you know what I mean? With hockey people, hockey people will call me up and go, what do you think? What do you think about our team? What do you think could make us better? Go ahead.
Do you want me to throw the Ryan Clark line at you? You didn't play the game.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Dude, people love my stories, as you know. Danny Barrett.
Oh, I know.
Danny Barrett had me in his office one time ripping my ass about what are you saying we should be playing Henry over Nealon for? I'm like, Stevie Wonder can see you should be playing Henry Burris over Nealon. Did you play the game?
I know.
Okay. Well, listen, we'll come back on all of this, but point 3, Quick Six Show topics. Sidney Crosby says he understands why trade rumors swirl around him, with the Pittsburgh Penguins having missed the playoffs each of the past 3 seasons. Going into another with little hope of contending, the 38-year-old Stanley Cup champ has heard all the buzz about going to Colorado or Montreal and realizes it comes with losing hockey. Speaking to reporters at the NHL Player Media Tour in Las Vegas yesterday, Crosby struck a balanced tone about the buzz and the desire of other teams and fan bases wanting him. Mitch, if I may, now having spent going into season 5 covering the Panthers and Lightning here, this poppycock and speculation in hockey, it's worse than any other sport, what the Canadian media does with the NHL. You know why? I think I just thought about it this morning. They got nothing else. They don't talk about the CFL, and they don't cover the MLB and really the NFL. There's nothing worse than hockey media and the memes flying around and the rumors. It's just because they don't have anything better to do. That's what I think.
I don't disagree with that. I think you could say the same in the U.S. in certain markets, certain sports. I think there are places in the South, where it's NBA and nothing else. There are places where it's college football and it's nothing else. In Canada, you don't pay attention to youth sports. All your pro teams are in one center. You don't really talk about the CFL the way you should. It's hockey, hockey, hockey. And there are 7 teams in Canada that you want to succeed. One of them you want to succeed more than any other. But, yeah, I understand it. I also laughed the other day, too, because you talk about Crosby. There was a thing on Twitter last night. I don't know who put it out. Can you imagine the Leafs in 3 years with Crosby, McDavid, Kaprizov, everybody else? Because as soon as the guy becomes a free agent, he's got to go to Toronto, right?
And John Cooper will be the coach.
Exactly. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Because why wouldn't he? We're the Leafs. So, you're right. You and I have been doing sports media for decades, and I'd like to think at a high level. And I've kind of sat back and examined it. No, you're right. Like, there's nothing bigger in Portland than the Trailblazers. I've been there. There's nothing bigger in Charlotte than the Carolina Panthers. I've been there. And here in Miami, they're talking about who's going to coach the Dolphins next, because Mike McDaniel may not last past.
We talked about Dallas,
the Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
Yeah. But that's largely market specific, although you turn on ESPN and it's all Cowboys all the time. I don't even turn it on. I'm just saying, in Canada, a great example is this Connor McDavid stuff right now. I'm so tired of it. You said this signing will come soon. Rashog is hinting that it would, and now somebody sent me a tweet from Elliot Friedman that he's expecting McDavid to go to free agency. Listen, I checked out on it, man. But the fans don't seem to get enough of it. They can't get enough of it.
Well, would there be any difference if Connor McDavid was a member of the Carolina Hurricanes compared to him being a member of the Edmonton Oilers right now? This is the best player in the NHL. And he's, could be going to free agency. At this time next year, we could be talking about him being a member of any one of the 32 teams in the National Hockey League. But it's Connor McDavid. Like, would we be caring about this if it was Nick Suzuki? That's not a shot at Nick Suzuki. Would we care about this if it was Nazem Kadri? No. It's guys like Sid, McKinnon, McDavid. They're the ones that run the bus. I haven't seen the Friedman thing today, but like I told you, I think Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers will have a deal done very soon. And I'll be shocked if this thing goes into the start of the regular season with Connor McDavid not having signed. Because he doesn't want that. The Oilers don't want it.
Yeah. Somebody sent me the Elliot Friedman link to the tweet, and I don't know what to do when people say that. They send it, they DM it to me. A lot of people I don't even know. And I feel like saying, please don't send that to me. But part of the problem is, as the voice of the Rough Riders, and you knew me well for those 20 years, I was always the accessible guy. I always wanted to answer every fan's question. You know what I mean? And now I don't care. Don't send me Friedman stuff. I don't care. I'm sick of it. Hang on. Pull popped up in my face here. Navy Don writes, and he says, the hockey focus in Canada is unhealthy. Yes and no. Look at their bank accounts. I mean, is it unhealthy? Definitely to a degree. That's why Johnny Gaudreau wanted to leave Calgary, why Matthew Tkachuk wanted to leave Calgary, why Austin Matthews stayed in Toronto. I still have no idea. I won't necessarily say that it's wrong from Navy Don. You were nodding your head when I read.
Well, you talk about the late Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. I think their birth certificate has a lot to say about that too.
Yeah, maybe. Okay,
so
fair.
Point with Matthews, I agree. I don't know why he stayed.
Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in. He says Crosby will be a hab. Rich in Edmonton says ESPN is bad for that, and the NFL as well, i.e. Stephen A. Smith. You're not wrong, Rich in Edmonton, for sure. And that's, by the way, I was with some folks on Sunday watching NFL football. I was telling them about my plan where they watch this show every day here in Wellington, Florida. But I said, hour one will be Canadian sports. Hour two will be U.S. sports. And Sam, she goes, is that going to take off your Canadian viewers? All U.S. in hour two? I said, no, we're used to it. If Rich in Edmonton knows what Stephen A. Smith, Canadians are used to U.S. programming, right? They'll be more grateful for hour one.
If I turn on TSN right now, I'm getting First Take because we're at 10 o'clock Saskatchewan time. First Take has just ended. Pat McAfee is on right now on TSN.
Well, there you go. And what's he talking about? NFL. But speaking of, this is where, with the speculation of Crosby and McDavid, it was absolutely no different with Aaron Rodgers, and probably 10 times worse. Right? So, yeah, it's not just a country thing. We still have some time in this segment, but not a lot as we move on. Point 4. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hit a 2-run single in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game, and Tyler Heineman's hit won it on a fielder's choice in the 10th as the Blue Jays knocked off the visiting Houston Astros 4-3 in a thrilling AL matchup on Tuesday night. George Springer hit a home run for the Jays in the 6th, who up until then were held without a hit. Carlos Correa hit a 2-run homer for the Astros in the first inning. Yesterday, 67% of the respondents in our poll said that they're still into the Blue Jays. Mitch, you're sensing that across Canada?
Oh, absolutely. Why wouldn't you? This team, say what you will about them, and I'm not a fan of them. They capture the imaginations of the Canadian baseball fan. And I saw the end of that game last night. Jose Altuve with a couple of terrible plays, especially on the bases. But Toronto got the win last night, and they're going to make the playoffs, and hopefully Brad Marchand is batting leadoff for whoever they play in the first round.
Why?
Because I don't like the Blue Jays, Rod. I can't stand them. I haven't liked them for years, and they're going to the playoffs. That's great, but like the Leafs, you can get bounced in the first round.
You lost me at Brad Marchand.
Well, Brad Marchand is Toronto public enemy number 1 when it comes to athletes. So, if we have Brad Marchand come out and troll the Blue Jays, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, I gotcha. It makes sense now. From the audience, Gary in Winnipeg writes in and he says, apparently Chris Streveler took first-team reps in yesterday's Bomber practice. This would indicate that Zach Collaros will not play in Friday's game against the Ticats. Kirk in Toronto says, hi, Rod. It's well known that the Rogers family don't give a flying fadoo about the Argonauts, and I was worried when the woke MLSE was sold to them. That's from Kirk. Laverne in Swift Current said Vladdy is 17 for 30 at the plate in September. Like Buck Martinez said last night, let the stars be the stars. Love it. Go Jays. We'll be right back after this with more Scruffy on Game Plus TV.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
RP Show continues, and we're ready to rock and roll. Hour one is brought to you in part by the Mad Greek. Are you craving the famous Greek ribs everyone in Moose Jaw is talking about? Get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. Dine in, pick up, or order online at themadgreekeatery.com. And maybe we should do a Warriors report every day for the Mad Greek. They lost 5-0 at the Pats last night. Tabashniak, the goalie for the Pats, got the shutty in a 5-0 Pats victory over the Moose Jaw Warriors. Scruffy, you mentioned PTI earlier. We're 30 minutes in and we covered everything. Just think about it. Bills, MLSE, CFL Week 15, Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, and the Blue Jays. Bye. We could sign off. That's a hell of a podcast right there. Do you ever sit... Oh, his screen froze. Whoops. As I looked at him. Do you ever... It was working great for a while. Do I need to text him and tell him to hit refresh? Okay. Oh, his power went out. Oh, my God. It's going around. Well, I can handle this. What would you like to hear me talk about now, everybody? If the power ever goes out here, we're screwed. I can tell you that for free. But I sit here and I watch Pardon the Interruption every single day in Florida, and I go, how do they get all those topics in for 30 minutes? Because it goes by like that. Here we have 2 hours, and I feel like we don't really cover anything. Well, I'm going to have to bring in, say what? Jolt Cola? Yeah. So 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge. Are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. Mitchell tells me that the power went out. Apparently, he doesn't have a battery on his laptop. I mean, come on. He was born at night, not last night. Kenny Collins writes in. Kenny's watching in Vancouver. He says, Scruffy and I would get along great because my favorite baseball team is the team who's playing against the Blue Jays. There you are, Mitch. He goes, I am anti-Blue Jays. Keep up the outstanding work, Rod. Have a great day. Signed, Kenny, out in Vancouver. He's watching on Game Plus TV. Can I ask why you, if we're going to try this, why do you hate the Blue Jays so much, Mitch? Seems very anti-Canadian to me. Does he know that we're live? His cat does. Mitch, we're live. Go ahead, Mitch. I feel like something very...
I had a power
Can you
bump
hear?
here during the break, so everything's restarting on me.
Well, you start talking when you're ready to go. Your
Are
cat,
you
by
there?
the way, is yeah, we're here, buddy, and we're live on national television. Okay, so not a big deal, but yeah, literally keep your pants on. Okay, because we've all seen those or heard the stories, yeah, of the Zoom meetings where guys have dropped their pants or done strange things, not realizing they were on camera. So, anyways, Mitch, we're all over the place now. Why do you hate the Blue Jays so much? Was the question.
I've not been years. I think part of the you know what down like the Leafs. No, Roddy, I can't stand. I'm tired of this team is great. They're going to do great things, and then you last year as a young candidate, never a good fit. Like, come on. Like, I'm so the over the top homerism. It's too much for me.
Oh, fair. I mean, I don't feel like there's any wrong answer to that. But how's that any different than the Leafs or the Oilers or the Cowboys or the Yankees? I mean, it's not like the Jays haven't won. I guess it's just in our lifetime.
What you said, talked about at the top, when you get TSN or Sportsnet, and it's just this team is great. This team, no, they're not. This year they are, but and how to just ship if they win. So,
yeah. The tech gods don't like us today. You're getting through it, but not perfect.
No, I had a power bump. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden my power went out during that commercial break, and it's been trying to restart, and it just sort of got restarted about 2 minutes ago. So,
hey, it's all good. I'm just saying, tech and us this week aren't together. I'll say that I think you seem to be fine. We only have a few more minutes left with you anyways. But again, I was talking about PTI, and if we just bundled up the first 30 minutes of this show today, it's the perfect podcast. We covered all the things that I wanted to. I want to go back to this MLSE thing before you leave, because it's a big deal. These are two of the most powerful sports entities in North America, the Buffalo Bills and MLSE. So they're coming together to promote more the Bills, I think, than MLSE. Navy Don wrote in and said, basically, are they going to have an Argos night at a Bills game? Not likely. I guess it would mean a hell of a lot more if they did. It feels like everybody's got an opinion on this. I still don't see how it could go wrong, but I guess how does it stand to benefit anybody in Toronto other than the Bills? Maybe it's the question here.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out, because right now I just see this, unless you're going to have something where you become a discounted season holder if you have something with the Bills. I just don't see this right now on the surface being a huge help to the Toronto Argonaut fan base. For the kids, they're the winner here because they're going to get to learn football from the Argos. Josh Allen will come up and help in a camp or something. But I just don't see where this is going to help the Argonauts as an organization. And I don't know how this is going to help get more fans into the seats at BMO Field.
Well, I've been doing this about as long as you. I've worked for teams, as have you. You've worked for leagues. Am I wrong? Dude, I could go on for 2 hours with you on this topic alone. Am I wrong in saying, you'd say the Argos fan base? I'm sorry, but the Argos don't really care about the fan base. They already have them. They're already going to the games. They're trying to get the people that don't go to the games. I know that from my marketing days, sitting around the boardroom table, talking about how are we going to get in the people that live 60 miles away. We already have our season ticket base of this. This isn't about the Argo fan base. It's about getting people in that weren't going to games. That's the goal.
Is this going to succeed?
And what's the benchmark for that? How do we know? Like the Bills Stadium's already full. So, how much bigger can they get? It's interesting. Like they say, it doesn't hurt. It's funny, Mitch, when you sit there and think for a couple seconds, it scares the hell out of me that your screen is frozen. Then you start talking. But it doesn't hurt that you think before speaking. Quickly, Seahawks Steelers on Sunday. What's going to go down with your Sea Chickens?
Well, I hope Mike McDonald doesn't decide to do Jim Harbaugh and decide to kick a field goal and a chance where he could just keep his offense on the field. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be as good in week 2 as he was in week 1? I don't think so. And can the Seahawks get under DK Metcalf's skin? Because they saw many players get under his skin in Seattle. I think that's going to be one of the better games of week 2.
I was just thinking that you get the NFL game notes, as do I, and they're previewing some pretty salacious games. I think the game of the week is the Super Bowl rematch, of course. Eagles at the Chiefs. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Giants, Cowboys, 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff. By the way, Chris from the Bronx, if you're watching, we won't be able to get together to watch that. That was the plan, but I'm not going to be back from the Keys in time. And Jalen Carter, $57,000 fine and time served. You got 20 seconds. Do you like that punishment or not?
I'm okay with the fine. I think the fact that they're saying he's suspended, but because it happened, so that's the suspension. I sort of wonder, but okay, let's move on.
Yeah, got it. Let's move on. Mitchell, go on about your day. Whew. Thank you so much. It was fun. Great job. We'll be right back on Game Plus.
Sorry about the power outage.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
And we are back, everybody. Hour one brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications, where creativity is a way of life, specializing in strategic communications, leadership training, and clear conversational content that motivates your audience. Check them out, Outlaw Communications. The comments from the viewers are elite. And it'll carry me to the top of the hour and into hour two. And we'll be joined later on in hour two by Kevin Karius from Sports 1440 Edmonton. He is my oldest friend in the business. From the audience, we were talking about Canada's game of the week in the CFL. I'm voting for Edmonton at Toronto. Mark in Burlington, Ontario writes in, he says, Nick Arbuckle will start for the Argos this week. It's funny because I'm pretty sure Nick Arbuckle's a big faith guy as well, big God guy like Cody. Wonder what the big man does when two of his guys collide. Should be fun. That's the game of the week for me. Noni in Calgary writes in. She says, morning, Rod, on the Western Dodge text line. She says, it's a shame Scruffy doesn't like the Jays, but to each their own. It was an exciting end to the game last night, and there's plenty of room for bandwagon jumpers on the Blue Jays fan tour. Have a great show. I'll always cheer for the Jays, win or lose. I cheer for them as well, but I don't watch nightly unless they're winning. And I watched more Blue Jays baseball this summer than I have in years, but now back in Florida, number one, I can't get the games. And number two, there's so much going on. My dance card is getting very full. And I'm excited to say this. Okay, here's a funny story, because it's just me, as it was yesterday for all of hour one and a good portion of hour two. You know that I did a show, you heard me talk about it, from an office tower in downtown Boca Raton, Florida. And so my neighbor across the hall in that office tower, guy by the name of Don, texted me 2 nights ago. He's like, it was clearly a God shot. He was like, where are you? I miss you. So I've been in Canada for 3 months, but I'm back now, but I'm doing my show in another studio. Oh, are you ever going to come by and say hi? And I'm going to do that today after this show, but his son is the play-by-play voice of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets men's hockey team, and they're coming here to Boca Raton next weekend to play the Florida Atlantic University Owls. That's my hometown team. Got an Owls football helmet up there, but I'm not going to reach and grab it right now. But he goes, would you be interested in doing color commentary for Sterling when the games were in Boca? I said, if Sterling will have me, it's a yes. I can't wait. It's next weekend, broadcasting Georgia Tech at FAU, men's college hockey. Everything coming together. That just happened within the last couple of days. And why I'm bringing that up, I'm not sure. But I can't wait to see Don. He's a Greek guy from Long Island, living here now. Laverne and Swift Current continues on that vein of Mitchell hating the Blue Jays. He says, oh, Scruffy, remember, there's always room on the Blue Jays bandwagon. Oh, yeah, he ain't jumping on. But I'll tell you, and Mitch is probably watching now, he and I do broadcasting gold together. I don't understand. When the technology works. What do they say? Technology's great when it works. Kelly writes in, he's watching in the YQR. He says, hey, guys, it's just a tornado thing. Are you guys having weather there in southern Saskatchewan? He says, Mitch, just talking about it causes the sound to go off. Maybe Luke Wilson will work it all out. Keep good, fellas. Stay positive and encourage goodness. It's sports. It's become about money, but it's still sports and the spirit of the team. Yeah, sure. It's all about money, and that's it. And that's why I say it again. I don't mind coming on here and talking about Canadian sports hour one. And it's not like we're anti-Canadian sports in hour two. It's just going to be more U.S. sports in hour two. I mean, shoot, when Kevin Karius joins us next hour, we'll be talking a lot about Connor McDavid. Probably, well, a lot on the Edmonton Elks. We're not anti-Canadian. To be honest, those U.S. viewers think it's kind of cool. That's why they tune in. I would have liked to have gotten to college football with Mitch. That's the problem when technology intervenes or tornadoes or storms. It's a real pain. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, growing up in Mimico in the mid-'70s, we kids almost never played hockey on the street. We played in schoolyards, and many of those games were played against Brendan Shanahan and his brothers. How about that, as they say? Why are we talking about street hockey? I don't even remember. Oh, because of this Bills Argos thing. And again, Game Plus anchored in Toronto, a stone's throw from BMO Field. I get we got a lot of GTA viewers. I want to hear from you because you know way better than I do. Raised in Western Canada, lived there for half a century, and now in Florida. I don't know Toronto. How do you feel about this Bills MLSE association that they announced yesterday? First thing out of my mind was good. It's in my commentary today. You can go read it right now at rodpedersen.com. If you can't beat him, join him. I've been only saying it for 30 years. And I think the one thing, well, it's not like Luke Wilson is wrong on a lot of what he says. His delivery is awful. But the numpties, the CFL defenders that don't see its warts, won't acknowledge its warts. If you actually think you can go head-to-head with the NFL as a CFL, then we can't be friends. You're not going to win. You've never been able to win. Not for the last 20 years you haven't been able to win. So partnering with the Buffalo Bills, I don't see how this will hurt the Argos at all. But I also don't live there. I see there's an argument going on that doesn't involve me. It's about Dak Prescott and Jalen Carter and the second spitter. I won't go there any further. Hi, Kevin the Medium. Kevin the Medium's going to be with us tomorrow and Friday. He's out there, I'm assuming in Alberta, where they never have any power outage problems. I say that somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but Kevin says, I'm so excited for you. I know this is a step towards many great things. Thank you, Kev. He's talking about the men's college hockey broadcasting next weekend, and there's a lot of very exciting things to come. So, yeah, I'm excited about all of that, which is, by the way, another weird thing. It's only taken how many years? Going on 5 years now. But there was Florida Panthers people that are in Canada right now because it's off season for them. Or at least the people that were watching this show yesterday on television. Oh, that's your show, Rod? Yeah. 1,573 episodes later. But how would they know? Panthers people in Canada in the off season finally discovering the Rod Pedersen Show. Oh, that's what you've been talking about. Yeah. On the MLSC Bills thing, Navy Don's got a lot to say. Say, Don, you're a guy that will love this new setup, right? Hour one, Canadian sports. Hour two, U.S. sports. I feel like hour one will be for you. He says, funny, Hamilton is closer to Buffalo than Toronto, and we don't see the Ticats kissing the Bills' butt like MLSC does. I'll say this to the Southern Ontario people. Are you going to take that from Navy Don, who, by the way, is living in Ottawa? MLSC doesn't own the Ticats. Don, you're a smart guy. That's the whole idea behind all of this. Utah Darren writes in, he says, I thought the CFL had a non-competition agreement with the NFL and other U.S. leagues. Guy, Utah Darren, you watch this show every day. I'm a big fan of yours, but you got to understand the rules and the laws are nothing more than a guideline, especially for sports leagues. Have you been following what's going on with Tom Brady? It was against league bylaws that Tom Brady could own a team like he does 10% of the Vegas Raiders, and also have a job anywhere else in the league, i.e. lead color commentator on Fox. There were certain media, Mike Florio, banging this drum all of last year saying, this is wrong. This is against league rules. Well, they finally addressed it in the offseason and came out with saying, it's fine. So to say, thought there was a rule against that. NFL teams coming into CFL markets. What are rules? Depends who you are, bro. And that's universal. Bill Cosby is not in jail. Where the hell was I? We were having this debate the other day. I said, Bill Cosby's not in jail. It was Brent from Wellington, Florida. You watching right now? He was right beside me on the couch. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Look it up. Bill Cosby's not in jail. Look it up. Depends who you are. In a lot of cases, how much money you have. Sports update for for Ultimate Fan Zone. Jose Barrios will get the start for the Toronto Blue Jays tonight against Houston. The Jays took the series opener last night in walk-off fashion, 4-3 in 11. Toronto starts the day with a 3-game lead on New York and Boston in the AL East. The Texas Rangers will bring a 3-game win streak into their matinee against Milwaukee today. Texas is 2.5 games behind first place Houston in the American League West. Seattle 1 game behind the Stros. There are several afternoon games on the busy Major League Baseball schedule. The Boston Red Sox take on the Athletics, and Arizona visits San Francisco. The Giants are 2 games behind the New York Mets in the race for the final NL wildcard spot. And the Cleveland Guardians are doing their best to stay in the American League wildcard race. They will bring a 5-game win streak into their game against Kansas City tonight. Cleveland is 2.5 games behind Seattle for the last wildcard berth. Sports update for Ultimate Fan Zone. From jerseys to trading cards, Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store is your fan cave headquarters. As you can see, we're fans of them. Visit them in Moose Jaw or click over to ultimatefanzone.ca. We're going to continue all of these topics, by the way, coming up into hour 2. And Kevin Karius will be joining us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. I do want to get to the bottom of the Connor McDavid saga. And if anybody will know, it's Kevin Karius. So a lot of big hockey fans watching this show, baseball and football. That's why we do what we do. We'll be back after this top hour break on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, podcast, and 1700 Mission Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome inside hour 2 of the RP show on a special day, a Wednesday. And did we even? Yeah, we did. We did get to the poll question. We do it every Wednesday. What's Canada's game of the week in the Canadian Football League? And I will tell you, just to set up hour 2, coming up in the next segment, Kevin Karius will be joining us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. Here's what I've learned in my centuries in sports media. Even though I'm annoyed by it, in this case being Connor McDavid speculation, it's what people are talking about. So I would be an idiot to not get to the bottom of it with Kevin Karius, who probably is the longest-serving sports media guy in Edmonton right now, save for maybe Bob Stauffer. Can you Edmonton viewers confirm or deny? Now would be a good time to tell you the text line is open, 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge, 902-518-3033. Here's what we've been talking about today, boys and girls. A re-up of the Quick Six show horn here. Pete Goelli, Buffalo Bills Chief Operating Officer, was in Toronto Tuesday as Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment and the Bills unveiled a partnership aimed at helping grow football in Canada. I'm not going to go through the whole story here. Mitchell Scruffy Blair was with us an hour ago, and we spent the whole opening segment on this. The Bills of the NFL and the Toronto Argonauts and their parent company, MLSE, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, finally coming together. Now, it's not like they haven't before, right? They did the Bills series, which was ended early because lack of ticket sales, but the Bills sucked then. Toronto wasn't going to support a loser. It is what it is. We kicked this around with Mitch and the viewers, and to be honest, the comments are still coming in because we have a heavy portion of our viewership is from the GTA and Eastern Canada overall, and Game Plus Television, which graciously carries us every day, is based there. So I think what we've kicked around and what we summed up was, how's this going to benefit the Argos? My mind is going to all these places. 1997. Remember when the NFL rode to the rescue of the Canadian Football League to the tune of $500,000 per team just to resuscitate the league, put wind back into its sails? Oh my God, thank you, $500,000 per team. I remember Gerald Wilcox of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers saying, $500,000 to the NFL is like me taking my kids for Slurpees. The only thing here is Keith Pelty, the president of the MLSE. I've known him a long time. He's a real one. He's a good one. He came from the bottom up to the top. I don't think he's been hoodwinked here by the Bills and those fast-talking NFL fellas. But maybe he has. And Navy Don said here earlier, are they going to have a Argos night at a Bills game? Because now we're talking. Because they're going to have a Bills night at an Argos game, which sent Peter Diakowski around the bend. Former CFL player, former winner of Canada's Smartest Man. And I don't fool with that. I love Pete. But it was such a hot button topic with everybody. And just to look at it from all sides and not having a dog in the hunt, which I don't, I'm just going, how does this benefit MLSE and the Argos? It seems to me just better for the Bills. Oh, it's like 97 all over again. Point two, staying on that Canadian Football League topic, it was nice when NFL and Canada morphed there with the point one. Point two is it is week 15 in the Canadian Football League. What's it today? Wednesday? As you know, we talk more CFL as we get closer to the weekend. Here are your games. Friday night, Winnipeg at Hamilton. The viewers telling me out of Winnipeg that Chris Streveler's taking first-team reps for the Bombers today, and therefore Zach Caleros not playing. Probably going to affect the bettors, I would think. Ottawa at BC, the late game on Friday night. Saturday, Edmonton at Toronto. That's my game of the week because of my Cody. And I quite like Nick Fatty Arbuckle, the quarterback of the Argos, too. And then Montreal at Saskatchewan in a rematch of the 2009 and 2010 Grey Cups. Montreal at Saskatchewan. That one's not even close. I'll bet you the point spread there will be 8+. Probably is. I could look it up. I haven't looked at it yet. But somebody wrote in here earlier and said there's a case to be made, wrote me on Twitter, for all these games being the game of the week. Well, I'm sure if you noticed or not, the final third of the season is kicked off in the Canadian Football League. I sat back and like, Riders 10-2, that's 12 games. They only got 6 left. That's a final third. Went fast, didn't it? Just a comment from Tony. He is watching on Game Plus and says, good morning from Saskatoon. Is Zach Caleros done? And happy heavenly birthday to the iconic Arnold Daniel Palmer, the namesake of my favorite new drink, the Arnold Palmer. Not as dirty as it sounds. Half iced tea, half lemonade. Tony says, by the way, I'm liking the new format, Canadian sports first hour, U.S. in the second. I think I'll be tuning in more on Game Plus. How about that, guys? His question, though, was, is Zach Caleros done? I think it's a little early for that. Only Zach knows. Maybe the Bombers. But is he done? Nah. Do we see him again this year on the field? I think so. I just said we're finished going into the final third of the season. Zach's not shutting it down now. This is an off-season thing. I go back to the Tua. My friends around here, because I'm back in South Florida, they're like, oh, so this Zach Caleros, he is the Canadian Tua Tagovailoa? Bingo. However, with more championship rings. My vote is Edmonton at Toronto for the game of the week. Point 3 of the Quick Six Show topics. Beautiful thing about hockey is it spans both countries. Sidney Crosby says he understands why trade rumors swirl around him, with the Pittsburgh Penguins having missed the playoffs the last 3 years. Going into another with little hope of contending, the now 38-year-old Crosby has heard all the buzz about going to Colorado or Montreal and realizes it comes with losing hockey. Speaking to reporters at the NHL Player Media Tour in Las Vegas yesterday, Crosby struck a balanced tone about the buzz and the desire of other teams and fan bases wanting him. I think we all got to realize that things change. I remember we had Brian Burke on this show within the past 5 years, I would say, when Berkey was the president of hockey of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I asked him if any of the rumors of trading Sidney Crosby were true, and he laughed. I don't think Brian Burke laughs, but he was like, you don't trade Sidney Crosby unless he wants to go, and I don't think he wants to go. And I still don't think Sid wants to go. He took less money to sign in Pittsburgh, $8.7 million this last deal. He's won his 3 Stanley Cups. I think we have a poll question tomorrow. Can y'all remember it? Will Sidney Crosby be traded? I think that would be a pretty good question to have. Tomorrow, poll question for EMJ Marketing. Today's is what's Canada's game of the week, and I'm a little surprised to know that the winner of the poll is Winnipeg at Hamilton. I think that's with people still thinking that Zach Caleros is going to play. By the way, our number 2 is brought to you in part by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet, and they also bring you our CFL and NFL picks weekly at rodpedersen.com. Point 4, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hit a 2-run single in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game, and Tyler Heineman's hit won it on a fielder's choice in the 10th as the Blue Jays knocked off the visiting Houston Astros 4-3 Tuesday night in a thrilling AL matchup. They'll do it again tonight. Jose Barrios on the mound for the Jays. For now, I don't have the energy to look across all of Major League Baseball. That was my question yesterday, and I was pleasantly surprised, or no, not surprised. I was just happy to see that 67% of respondents saying, yeah, they're still into the Blue Jays. Even Scruffy said last hour, why wouldn't they be? Because the NFL's kicked off, and college football, and hockey's right around the corner. That is why. But no, the Blue Jays' interest is still high. The ratings are still high. And as Mitch said, they're going to the playoffs. So let's see how this thing plays out. Point 5 of the Quick Six show topics is other football. And my word, mon Dieu, could we sit here like all the other shows and talk about other football for 2 hours? That's why you're here. You like the variety. You like the change. Clearly, that's what people tell me. And also the interactive portion of it. So I should get to that. I should listen, take my own advice. 902-518-3033. And there are comments coming in there. So hang on. Thank you. Yeah, they're all talking about the MLSE Bills partnership. I said earlier, is Kevin Karius the longest-serving Edmonton media member? BW in Edmonton writes in, and he says, Bob Stauffer and Reed Wilkins and Jason Greger are the 3 longest sports. Morley Scott started being the color guy for the Oilers. Yeah, you know what? Let's put that to Karius when he joins us next. Who is the longest-serving? I don't think it's Reed Wilkins. He's too young, isn't he? Brian Hall not around anymore, or is he? I haven't listened to Ched in some time. If they're still on the air, Halsey's still probably on the air. But for our NFL people, maybe what's the game of the week in the NFL? I feel like that would be the Thursday poll question. Better than will Sidney Crosby finish his career a Penguin? What's America's game of the week in the NFL? It's not really a contest. I wrote 4 games down here. It's the Super Bowl rematch. It's the Eagles at the Chiefs. And the Eagles will probably whop the floor with them, I would think, but I don't know. Chiefs lost to the Chargers in week 1 in Brazil. It's probably not going over real well in Missouri. It's the Eagles and the Chiefs is the game of the week. But sneaky and tantalizing is the Seahawks and Steelers in Pittsburgh. As Mitch said, that would make a case for the game of the week. DK Metcalf, now of the Steelers, after asking for a trade out of Seattle, and really any game Aaron Rodgers plays at this point is quite interesting. Chris from the Bronx, you watching? We had it all lined up to watch the Giants and the Cowboys together, but that's when we thought it was the night game. It ain't. It's a 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff, and I won't be back in town yet, Chris. If I don't hear from you, that means you're not watching. I'll text him later. And then Thursday night, it's the Washington Commanders at the Green Bay Packers. Sexy enough matchup on Thursday Night Football, but not game of the week material. Not in my opinion, anyways. Matt DeBuck writes in, hey, Coach, from the Cardinal Gibbons Chiefs. That's their helmet over there that he gave me. He says, who's the longest-serving GM in the CFL? Greer in Miami, year 9, with no real success. Why, Rod? Why? Well, Matt, you know how football works. Chris Greer ain't going anywhere this year because he's got a coach to fire first. He's had a couple. Flores. It'll be Mike McDaniel next. How many coaches is it? 9 years? Whew. It's a lot of coaches he's fired. Maybe he's friends with the owner. That's usually how it works. Longest serving GM in the CFL. Top of my head, Kyle Walters. Somebody want to help me out with that? Winnipeg? Got to be. Yep, Kyle Walters, Winnipeg, I believe. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in and he says, your night game to watch is week 4, Packers, Cowboys at AT&T. Guess I know what we're doing that night, right? Brent from Wellington, Florida. My Cowboys against his Packers. Oh, it's going to be ugly. To the MLSE Argos thing again, which I'm not sure why everybody's so horny about this, but you do you. I said that's why I've never been the Toronto sports guy, because I don't really understand how you all think. But it's not just Toronto people that are interested in it. Kevin the Medium checking in. I'm just going to gong this because I don't know where John Ohm is today. Kevin the Medium says the BC Lions and Seahawks have done so many things together. Season ticket holders for the Lions get a deal on Hawks tickets. Well, see, that also is the thing with the MLSE and the Argos partnership here. Kevin gets this, the whole let's work together thing. You know that I have that other career in mental health and addiction recovery. We work together. Bing, bing, bing. We had somebody needs help. I got a guy in that city or gal. Ding, ding, ding. Get him on a plane. Get him a treatment. Whatever you need. That's saving lives. Working together works. In sports, nobody wants to do it. And now all of a sudden they do? What do they got to lose is the whole point. And I just sit here and because they say that, the pendulum goes back and forth. I had a team owner call me a couple weeks ago. I've mentioned this on the air. And the owner was like, we're thinking of doing this and collaborating on this and doing this. And I'm like, how did you get my number? And why are you telling me this? Nobody's ever cared what I think. It is what it is. Coach DeBuck says the Lobos on at 10 p.m. at UCLA Friday night. Come on over. The long snapper is playing great. Oh, you invite me now, Coach. I'm going to be in the Keys on Friday night and Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow night at your game. I may bring Chris from the Bronx down to Fort Lauderdale to watch. I'm coming for sure. We'll see if we can get Chris out. Indeed, Jeff the Stamps fan has concurred. He has confirmed that the longest-serving general manager is Kyle Walters. We've also confirmed that Bill Cosby is no longer in jail. We're covering a lot of ground today. Kevin Karius joins us next from Sports 1440 Edmonton. He says he treasures his chats with me. I do with him. The next one's coming up right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
For legendary ribs, delicious pizza, and late night bites, it's the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in. Check out their website at themadgreekeatery.com. He made it home, the great Kevin Dick Karius from Sports 1440 Edmonton. How you doing, Dickie?
Good, Norm. Good to be with you, big fella. Always, as you say, I enjoy our chats.
Yeah, me too. But listen, I got to get to the bottom. We're going to jump right into it here. I need to get to the bottom of the Connor McDavid stuff because I'm already tired of it, and I don't miss being back in Florida because guess what? I'm not hearing any of it. No, wait. I am still hearing it because people are sending me all different reports and stuff. I'm like, there's one guy I want to ask. Not will he or won't he, but just what is your take on it? Because it's gotten absurd in my opinion.
Okay, here's the thing. I just finished the show here on Sports 1440. Comes down about 45 minutes ago, Frank Saravalli reporting that Kirill Kaprizov, and I don't know if you've seen this yet, has his cap says, no, we will not be interested in a 8-year, $128 million deal. $16 million AAV blows Leon Draisaitl's contract out of the water. To me, that is going to get some legs today. There's no doubt about that. We immediately had people talking about, oh, look at Connor. Now he's seeing this. He's looking at this. I think a lot of people will look at that Kaprizov deal and go, well, it's about the term. It's 8 years. It's too long because the cap's going up. Is Connor McDavid going to sign in Edmonton? Yes. What's the term going to be? Is it anywhere between 3 and 5 years? Yes. Is it going to be AAV at 16, 17 million? Quite likely. When you say that word absurd, I would say, I think a lot of people are just saying, let's just get on with it. But Connor's going to do this in his own time. The things that people have said that they want to see him look at this roster and see what's surrounding him, I don't believe in that. Not for this year anyway. But it's more about the roster that the team has for 3-4 years down the road, because at that point, you got guys like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman into their mid-30s. So that's what he's looking at, and that's why I would say we're looking in the 3 to 5 year range.
If I may be so bold, why are you so confident he'll sign?
Where else has he got a chance to win like this? Where? There is not another team in the NHL that he has a chance to win like here. Let's talk about your Florida Panthers. All of the contracts that are signed are no movement clauses. Do you think any of those players that Bill Zito would have to unload in Florida to get a Connor McDavid? Because this is the only team that's beaten the Oilers the last 2 years. So let's use them as the example. Where else would he go? Those teams, those players like a Florida, they would have to make those no movement clauses good to go. They have to shore up the money. to get a Connor McDavid to sign 16, 18 million, whatever it's going to be. And the surrounding pieces have to be just as good, if not better. There isn't a team in the league. Please find me one, Normie. Find me one where the players coming back to Edmonton would be suffice, that Connor would go, or management on the other side would go, let's make this deal. He can go and sign elsewhere.
Leafs fans and media are saying the Leafs are making room. Come on.
Oh, boy. You know, I'm so sick of all the stupid Leaf fans already, and the season hasn't even started.
Is that all you have to say on that? What about the media?
Like, it goes on and on and on. Like, just think about how stupid the Leaf fans are, saying that they were the second best team in the league in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year because they took Florida to 7 games. The Oilers took them to 6. Like, how stupid can you be?
That's a John Lynch line. How dumb can you be? Well, okay. Fair. Hey, listen, speaking of the greats, I said earlier that you are my oldest friend in this business, and that's a fact. I remember the first day I met you. It was day 2 of college, maybe even day 1. But the viewers said that you're not the longest-serving Edmonton media guy. They gave me some names, but who is? You would know. You're in the trenches there. Who's the longest-serving?
Wow.
Current.
I guess still Matheson right now.
Okay.
I mean, Jim Matheson started covering the Oilers in the mid-'70s, in the WHA days. Mark Spector's got more term than me here, for sure. I mean, I'm in year number 35, started in 1990 in Yorkton. But in Edmonton, there'd be a number of guys. Like, again, Matty would be, there's a lot of guys that had just sort of retired, like a guy like Terry Jones. But there are fewer and fewer media, as you know, in this business. I'm pretty lucky, just like you are, to be involved in it. And, 35 years for me. So it's been a great run.
Beats working for a living. Who would have thought 2 seasons ago when Jim Matheson asked Leon Draisaitl why he's so pissy, that was like the turning point in the season? Go look it up.
You think so?
Well, they were pretty bad at that time, and they ended up in the Stanley Cup final. I'm not saying that was the turning point, but it's kind of coincidental. I do want to get to NFL with you in a second, and the name Tim Aylesbury is going to come up. But I get the sense that people are very excited about the Edmonton Elkamos. I see it.
I went to the game on Saturday night, and the first thing that I thought was, I have not felt that excitement. I've not seen the excitement, the atmosphere in the building for 10 years. That goes back to 2015 when they won the Grey Cup. It's been 10 years. I talked to Mark Killam yesterday about it. Obviously, he's been in the building many times as an assistant coach and special teamers in Calgary. Talked to Cody Fajardo about it yesterday at practice. Same thing for him. He's been, when he was playing in Saskatchewan, they obviously had massive crowds here. He was on the other side of the fence, other side of the field. But without a shadow of a doubt, Normie, never felt that building like that. Never felt Commonwealth Stadium, especially, that 90-yard run by Justin Rankin. And I could not believe, since 1977, an Eskimo back then, Elks running back, a 90-yard run since Jim Germany back in 1977. And we saw it on Saturday night.
It's a sign from God. Has any of those reporters we've mentioned have the grapes to ask Killam why they didn't start Fajardo in week 1?
No. Well, first of all, there are no reporters down there. Getting back to the media, like if you go back to last week when the Oilers held an informal skate down at the downtown community arena, I counted 10 mic flashes from various media in town. On a day like yesterday at practice at the Elks, there is Morley and Dave, Slav Kornick from Global, and myself, and Avery Mendelmeyer, whatever his nuts is there, your buddy.
Avery's Sports Show, your favorite black guy in a suit. Don't think I'm not paying attention. Has anybody asked Killam why? You're not getting off the hook. Why didn't they start Fajardo in a week 1?
Nobody's asked him because the whole city, the organization, every fan, every person in the organization, Ed Hervey, ownership, Chris Morris, all of them each and every one of them wanted Trey Ford to be the quarterback. Didn't work out. Cody Fajardo's a better quarterback in the CFL than Trey Ford is right now. It's that simple. It's not even close. That's the reason why. I mean, you got to even kill him some credit for making the change, because at the time of the change, nobody even wanted the change at that time. Trey Ford's not the problem here. It's the defense. The defense has given up 35 points. Nobody wanted the change, even at the time of the change. So I give Killam credit for that.
It's a sprinkle of Jesus. You're all just getting used to it. From the audience, Rich in Edmonton writes in. He says, the KK show greatly assists my morning commute in from St. Albert. That's from Rich in Edmonton. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in. He says, listen up, Dick. He says, hey, RP, how much do you and Karius keep in the vault about the antics you've seen in the sporting world over the years? How about our own?
I don't think we. Yeah.
How about our own?
I mean, our own stuff we do. We could fill about an 8-hour show just you and I talking about Bobby Krawchuk, Norm.
And his 30th birthday, when we had to call 911.
Oh, man, I bet he still has that Leafs shirt. Or is his jersey? Yeah, Leafs jersey.
Bring my Leafs jersey to the hospital.
Holy cow! Yeah, that's just. What are we talking? That's 32 years ago, right? 31,
other people's antics. How about our own? Which, speaking of, I want to ask you about the National Football League, because again, I met you first day, maybe it was the first day of college, whatever, 1990. I was not an NFL fan. I didn't have it. I didn't have cable television on the farm. I watched Blue Jays baseball, Expos, NHL. That's it. And Tim Aylesbury was a big NFL guy. It was at your apartment, and the Cowboys were playing. And I'm like, oh, whatever. Christine Aylesbury. Never mind. You know what I mean? Same class.
Yeah.
Well, the Cowboys were on. I'm like, this Aikman guy's cool. And that was where it was in your apartment that I fell in love with the Dallas Cowboys and Trey Aikman and all the rest. So my question is, how much NFL do you talk on your show and even follow up there in Edmonton?
Tons, a lot. I can guarantee you, and I've told you this too, on our show still, we can talk about the CFL, and our text line is not as aggressive as it is with the NFL, and it's that simple. I can just go by that, and maybe it's because in Edmonton, where we've had 8 or 9 years here of it being run into the ground, and fans have been pissed off about the name change. They've been upset about everything else, how the team has been handled as far as the board of directors and everything else. And they're mad about the team, and they've lost interest. I think it's coming back a little bit. It's starting to come. But I can guarantee you, just by going on our morning show, and it's 4 hours long, if we talk NFL, we have more interaction with our listeners than we do when we talk about the CFL. So NFL is pretty big here. There's no question about that.
Same here. So if you're following it, because I didn't know, what were your takeaways from a pretty wild week one? Pretty hard to top that.
Yeah, I mean the craziest game obviously is Buffalo and Baltimore, and how Buffalo just seems to have the Ravens' number whenever they seem to play them in big games, big moments, and not just Buffalo, but the Ravens can't seem to win that big game. Go back to last year, opening game, toes over last game against Kansas City. So the Ravens are close, but they're just not quite there. Very disappointed in Chicago, what we saw on Monday night with the Bears, who looked almost unstoppable in the first quarter and a little bit against Minnesota. And then to see J.J. McCarthy, who looked like he could not be a backup quarterback in the CFL for little over half the game. And for him to come back in the fourth quarter and see him, how impressive he was on a couple of drives. They got some breaks, but he showed, and the coaching staff, even after with the comments from Kevin O'Connell, to talk about how impressed they were with him and how they know that he can be the leader of this team because it was a big question mark. And as you know, a lot of Minnesota Viking fans up here in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, even Alberta, just for proximity, go back to the Bud Grant thing and the people purple eaters. So there you go. Nice, beautiful.
Well, you've been doing this for so. Yeah, well, you've been doing this for so long. You got a lot of friends that are coaches. Like, thank God they don't listen to the media. Because if they had, McCarthy would have been pulled on Monday night. You know, like, do you ever talk to these coaches and because I do, and they laugh at what idiots the media and fans are. Thank God they don't listen.
Well, they have, if you're not a successful coach has to eliminate all outside noise, all of it. Go back to your original about right here in Edmonton with Trey Ford, Cody Fajardo. Mark Killam eliminated that outside noise at the coaching change. Maybe being a first-year head coach, but we saw it last year too, in the sense, Norm. We saw it last year too, because everyone wanted Trey Ford in. And they waited. And then, Chris Jones ended up getting fired. But this year, that outside noise, Mark Killam, he didn't, because they still didn't want the change at quarterback. He eliminated that, and they made the change.
Yeah, well, and it's got to be a whisper in Edmonton when it comes to football, as opposed to who Chris Knobloch should have started in goal in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. I don't think he knew, let alone what everybody was telling him.
And you think about Chris Knobloch with that outside noise and the amount of decisions and personnel decisions that he's made over the course of his time here. And he's pressed a lot of correct buttons. So you have to be, you have to own your conviction. You have to be positive in what you believe in, and then gather the information from your coaches, from your staff, from some advisors, and make the correct call.
So I didn't tell you this. So on September 29th, we're going to Vegas Television Daily, hour 2 only, hence the Golden Knights jersey. It's going to be hour 1 Canadian sports, hour 2 U.S. sports, but we haven't got there yet. It's not September 29th. So we're still talking Canadian sports. And the NHL lovingly goes back across both borders. So I got to ask you this while I have you. The Oilers, with Paul Coffey leaving, what was the story there? I know you'll know.
Well, I interviewed Paul Coffey when he was hired, right after the coaching change that they made. And I asked, and I've known Paul a long time. I said, Coff, like, what's going on here? He goes, I'm just doing this for the end of this year. And that was last year. So he liked it enough and liked his role enough that he came back for year number 2. But he told me that there was no chance in hell that he was coming back for another year. It was going to be just to help Chris Knobloch along, to help a guy like Stewart along. He decided to stay for another year. I don't think there's anything, and I'll tell you what, he took more flack again for that from fans in Edmonton, saying the old boys club. This is Daryl Cates' advisor. He's in the owner's ear, this and that. And it was a load of crap. Paul Coffey did an amazing job with these guys. They would have loved to have him back again. But there's times, I think, and I think there's certain times where the coaching staff needs its own identity. And I think this is a time where Chris Knobloch said, I need to make this my coaching staff. This wasn't a hire for me. Neither was Stewart. Neither was Gulletson. But these guys actually work quite well together. And you look at Gully now. Now he's in Dallas again. So I'm looking forward to this staff. I haven't met a few of the guys, like the new goaltender coach, skills coach, and things like that. But I've spoken enough with Stewart that I think he's going to do a really good job on defense with this team.
Best hockey player ever from Hudson Bay Sask is who?
Well, okay, first of all, Glenn Gulletson is Hudson Bay. You know that, right?
That's why I brought it up.
Well, okay, but some people think he's from the Paw. They were just driving through.
Yeah, not me.
That's where he was born. The best hockey player ever to come out of Hudson Bay, Norm, without question.
Trent Yanni.
The goaltender, Larry Lipinski.
I would have said Trent Yanni or Craig Adam. Not Larry Lipinski.
No, Pecchio, yeah. You know, what's funny is Larry Lipinski, I think, check him out on Hockey DB. A little cup of coffee with the Detroit Red Wings. He was the first guy to come out of Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan as an NHL guy. But, yeah, Trent Yanni, for sure. He's right there. And, I mean, they've had some good ones for a little town in in northeast Saskatchewan, Normie.
The moose capital of the world. Larry Lipinski, the puck goes in ski.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you got
I
him
know.
up there, Norm?
No, not yet. I'm talking to you.
Come on.
I'll do it in the break.
But I mean,
I'll do it in the
you
break.
can figure it out. You got enough personnel. You got enough staff that can do that for you.
Oh, yeah. Everybody thinks we're ESPN, just like you. Okay. Thanks for the time, Dick. Always fun. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah. You betcha. Take care. Have fun down in FLA. And as I've always.
Perfect. I feel like he was going to swear. Perfect timing. Bye, Dick. Great job. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
We're back at it. Welcome back to the RP Show, everybody, on a Wednesday, brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. From strategic communications to leadership training and conversational content, we help your message connect and inspire. That is Outlaw Communications. Before I dive headfirst into a Sports update for Ultimate Fan Zone regarding the Kansas City Chiefs. Steve is watching on Game Plus TV in Steinbach, Manitoba, and he says the Chiefs are in big trouble. Well, and they got the Super Bowl champs this week. Imagine going 0-2. Regarding the MLSE Buffalo Bills partnership, Mark in Burlington, Ontario writes in. He says, Rod, I look at your career and the MLSE Bills relationship as a positive thing going forward in life. You're going to a TV station in Vegas, which is new. What is life without a little risk? Yeah. It's harrowing, though, sometimes. And by the way, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm reminded regularly by our staff to talk about Game Plus TV because it's not a it's not a either or. It's a we're growing. But it'll be Game Plus #1 always, forever. And Vegas picking up hour 2. And who knows from there. But Game Plus is where it all begins. But you're right. It's growing. And I guess that's what is the goal for the Bills and the Argos. As I was saying earlier, how do the Argos benefit from this? I don't know the answer to that. The NFL didn't get where it is by not trying to grow. You kind of sit there and wonder how much bigger can it get, even in the GTA, the Buffalo Bills, but they feel they can, and the Argos the same. What is the benefit to the Argos here? It's not my question to answer. I guess we'll find out if BMO Field's full. What a great chat we had with Scruffy earlier, though. He's like, why isn't the CFL and the Argos growing grassroots football? If that's what the goal is. I'm like, well, clearly it hasn't. They've tried. Clearly it hasn't worked. Laverne in Swift Current writes in regarding all of these things. He says, Keith Pelly, president and CEO of MLSE, said, quote, we will always be stronger as partners, and by working together as teammates to grow the game, we will not only strengthen the profile for both the Argonauts and Bills, but create opportunities for thousands of young fans to learn and love the game of football. It's a start, says Laverne. And regarding Bill Cosby not being in jail, if you weren't watching earlier, maybe rewind or something, but he says, what the Huxtable is going on? Bill Cosby should be in jail for life or longer. Well, he's not, and that's not a hill I'm willing to die on. I don't even know how that came up. We're very big in Steinbach today. Wilf writes in, he says, hey, Rod, Wilf from Steinbach, he says, all the CFL games are game of the week. All still in the playoff race. Go Riders, go Vikings. Gotcha. Well, it's the final third of the season. In case you haven't been paying attention, the games get big. Sports update for Ultimate Fan Zone. Jose Barrios will be on the mound for the AL East leading Blue Jays tonight when they aim to win a second straight game against the visiting Houston Astros. The Stros, who lead the AL West by 1 game over the Mariners, will hand the ball to righty Jason Alexander. President Donald Trump has built most of his domestic travel around attending sporting events rather than rooting for any particular team. However, he seems more eager to soak up the spotlight and spectacle of the events, even if some of the crowd boo him. During his second term, Trump has attended major sporting events such as the Super Bowl, Daytona 500, and the U.S. Open. And now he plans to go to Thursday's Yankees-Tigers baseball game in the Bronx. Why the Associated Press felt the need to tell us that, I don't know. But now you know Trump will be at the Yankees and Tigers. Or as my new friend Michael, I won't say his last name because you probably will know him, famous hockey family from Toronto. He calls him Mr. Trump. And he is the president. The sports update is brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone. Your team, your colors, your gear. Get it all at Ultimate Fan Zone. Like I got this Jays top. Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store in Moose Jaw or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. One more segment today. Your chance to get your questions and comments answered on a variety of things we've been discussing. 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line. Experience the Western Dodge difference, local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. Or the YouTube chat. Let's get it going in there. We've had a good one today. Let's finish strong when we come back. We're coming to you live across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus TV network, YouTube Live, podcast, and 1700 Mission Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. RP Show continues, and loaded up in the queue is overtime for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Come on, Calgary. You are a hockey town. That's what they say. Prove it. Go to Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And for that matter, all of Southern Alberta. If you're through there with a road trip with your hockey team, take the RP Show's advice and stop in there. Say hey to Randy and Michelle. Tell them the RP Show sent you. It is an amusement park for hockey players. And I would not steer you wrong. Which, by the way, the viewers have written in with comments that can keep me going now. Just if you want stories, I can give you stories till the cows come home. A couple of comments here. Not here is the story coming out of it, but Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in. He says, Caleb Williams is a bust. I don't disagree. I was shocked he went number 1 overall to the Bears in the first place. And Jeremy goes on to say, J.J. McCarthy missed a whole year hurt. He's behind his draft class with development. Got to wait and see with him. Or he had a whole year to observe. That's the way I look at it. George Cortez, the 5-time Grey Cup champion offensive coordinator, former assistant coach with Cal Berkeley and the Bills, said to me that ideally you would prefer to have your backup quarterback wait 2 years until he starts. They're throwing these rookies right onto the field. You don't think it wasn't a major help for McCarthy to miss a year and just have it all in his head? Nobody's talking about that. I should call George and see if he agrees. But I don't really need to. I feel like he would agree. Daniel is watching in Saskatoon. Daniel, I apologize if I have that wrong, but he says on the MLSC Bills deal, he says this is not going to hurt the Argos at all. Anything to do with football in Toronto is very positive. I predict that game in October against Hamilton, Bills night, will be close to a sellout. Where was this? Oh, Scott in Vancouver. This brings about the story. And this is what Luke Wilson is fighting about every day and will never win. Scott says the CFL should promote itself as a feeder league for the NFL. You aren't competing with a juggernaut league with a great TV contract. No, but they're going to go down swinging and trying. And what you're saying, this is why I get so tired of it. What the CFL should do. 30 years ago, I was the pre- and post-game host on Rough Riders radio broadcast long before I was the voice of the team. And we did those shows from Casino Regina. And we had a guy there join us by the name of Dale Joseph, Rough Riders defensive back, cool as hell. He's from Houston. Always wore a black leather Payne Stewart hat backwards. Just looked great. Cool guy, Dale Joseph. And I think he had played in the NFL for a bit. But he was a star in the CFL. Dale Joseph, not to be confused with Darren Joseph, the Canadian running back in the CFL, who's now a cop in Ottawa. Dale Joseph. And I said that exact same thing. The CFL should market itself as a feeder league to the NFL. And he looked at me deadpan because he believed it. And he goes, well, if that was the case, if we did that, people would think that we're a second-tier league to the NFL. Well, if you're not that, what are you? And that thinking from 30 years ago permeates to today. There are people, Luke Wilson calls them numpties, that think in some stratosphere, in some universe, the NFL and CFL are comparable. Now, what game would I rather watch? CFL. That's not what we're talking about here. They're not the same. Okay? They're not. But the numpties, which quite frankly Luke Wilson refers to them every day, that's what he's referring to. The people that have that mindset that the CFL is in some way comparable to the NFL in any regard. And which is another thing. I sit and talk about this forever. Eddie Johnson, great friend of mine, was a punter for 9 NFL teams. He goes, look, the talent isn't that much different. We all can agree with that. You know, that top-tier D lineman, that top-tier receiver, cover linebacker is as good. Look at Alex Singleton. Had a great NFL career, was the best Canadian in the CFL. But what Eddie said to me one day as we're standing there watching practice, he goes, but in the CFL, we only have one of those guys. So if that guy gets hurt, we're screwed. In the NFL, there's 10 deep of these monsters. And that's what keeps the quality of play up. And then you talk about the feeder league to the NFL. You look at our great friend, the dearly departed Craig Smith, who I would never call him a numpty because I have too much respect for him, but he was against that feeder league idea because he said the CFL is a haven for guys that didn't fit in the NFL. That tweener linebacker DN guy that was too big to be a linebacker or DB in the NFL, but too small to be a D lineman in the NFL. Those kinds of things. You know, they're not the same. Not even close. And so as we talk about this, what do they got to lose at this point? You know, that's the nice thing about having a good friend like Scruffy on. We've known each other for years. We operate like right and left hand. And it's like to sit and discuss this. You know, why aren't the Argos trying to grow football and the youth and the CFL in Toronto? Well, they have been trying. Apparently, it's not working. So they're bringing the Bills in because the kids are paying attention to them. It's kind of that's our sense of it. Okay, we're not from Toronto. We don't live in Toronto. And I'll tell you this: 902-518-3033 is our text line. Wherever you're watching this live right now or the replay later in the day, If you're from the GTA, I would love to know your thoughts on this arrangement announced yesterday. It was our number one topic today and has been a theme throughout the whole day because it's a pretty big deal. Scott in Vancouver says, it's like the AHL and NHL, smidgen of difference in talent. You are so right. You're so right. But where is the AHL? Nobody talks about the AHL. The CFL is lucky to have the profile, the TV contract, and nobody talks about the AHL at all. Stephen Brunt said it once. They're a minor league that enjoys major exposure and coverage, or at least at one time they did. This has been awesome, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, here on Game Plus.
Now I'm the whore and the pimp. That's where the money is.
How about that?